Welcome to the 113th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today, we are bringing you the first half of our Fall 2019 season first impressions based on the first few weeks of shows that have aired. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and the podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since we spoil literally everything. My name is Bcom, and if anybody ever says anything bad about Chihaya Furu, I will personally come to their house and German suplex them.
I don't give a shit about Chihaya Furu, Bcom. What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to German suplex you and shove my nose so far up your dog's butthole, you won't even know what hit you.
It's all from anime this season, surprisingly.
Oh
also with me are Kat and Leo, who are now traumatized.
I think there's like 2 German suplexes within like the first 2 in like
Minutes?
2 different shows, I think. Yeah.
Oh, really? There's another show with the German suplex?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think I watched it today. Earlier. I don't remember anymore. Oh, yeah. It was my demon school. This demon school one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's a German suplex in that
episode.
one.
Yeah.
I think that was episode... I don't know. That may have been episode 1.
All right.
This season's just full of some bullshit.
It's going to be rough making a top 5. I can't imagine going on beyond that.
Well, so yeah, we're going to go through like the first 2, sometimes 3 episodes of like basically everything that has aired this fall so far. But like, yeah, there is some trash, but we do have some shows that we're going to start with that are continuing, like that either we were covering last season.
And we genuinely like.
Or that we've kind of covered in the past, at least like one of the third show we'll talk about, we have covered before. So, but like, let's get right into Dr. Stone.
No. What have you been up to, Bcom?
No, we don't have time for nonsense.
No, we always fucking have time for nonsense. What are you talking about, Bcom? That's our fucking name of our show.
Fine.
What was wrong with you?
Now
Let me tell you the nonsense I've been dealing with today, the day that the Disney Plus streaming service launched.
Oh, okay.
I just, as a loyal Disney fan and cult member, really wanted to watch the first episode of that Star Wars TV show, The Mandalorian, because I love Star Wars.
Shit.
Wait, have you heard of this?
I've heard that it's not good.
You're wrong.
Well, because everyone said that if it was good, they would have given it to critics. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. People say stupid shit. The first episode was fine. It's like, it's basically about like a bounty hunter who is cool and does cool guy shit, and saves a baby alien at the end of the episode. I won't spoil much beyond that. But, yeah, fucking... I couldn't watch this show because, okay, so first I went to Disney Plus's website, and it like wouldn't work in Google Chrome for some reason. So then I tried to use it in Firefox, and then it did work. But then it was like when I was trying to load The Mandalorian, it was giving me errors. So I was like, all right, maybe just the computer is not the way to experience Disney Plus. Let's go to my TV. Let's try my Roku. Because like Roku, of course, everybody has a Roku. They're going to make sure the app works, right? So I load up my Roku, I like type in the ridiculously long password that I auto-generated for this account that I couldn't remember, and then load up the main page, and I go to click on The Mandalorian, and just nothing happens. I just keep clicking, nothing is happening, I'm just getting increasingly upset, and I'm just like, alright, I have more devices I can try. There's an Xbox app, right? I'll try that. So I go, and I get, like, load up the Xbox app on Xbox, and then I see that, like, oh, there's actually like an option that if your Xbox is connected to the Wi-Fi network that your phone is, you can install the app on your phone, and you don't have to type in the stupid long auto-generated password that you made because you're just paranoid about security. So I go do that. I'm like, oh, I'll download this app on my phone now. So I download the app on my phone and I log in on my phone. And then I'm like, okay, now I can automatically get into the Xbox really quick. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, my Xbox is on a wired connection. It's not wireless, so it's not on the same network as on my phone. And I'm not going to just change it right now because I don't care. So then I type in the password on my Xbox too, because like that was all wasted time. And then I go to play The Mandalorian, and I get to the launch page. Like, on Netflix, you click into a show and it takes you to the page that's like, rate this title. This is how many episodes there are. Yeah. Here's a description. I get to that page, but there's no play button. There's just a plus button to add it to your watch list. And I'm like, I know that you can play the episode right now because I saw it on the PC. And so I click the add to watch list button, and then I go to my watch list, and the show's not there. And I'm just like, all right, there's one more thing I can try to watch this on my TV. I go and I have like a Samsung TV, so you can download a Disney Plus app like straight to the TV, like straight to the fucking source. No extra devices. So I go in, I type in my insanely long password that I kind of remember by now because it's like the fourth time.
This is good practice for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
this is their true intention all along.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Disney service at its best. I load up The Mandalorian. The video starts to play. I'm overjoyed. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's buffering a little bit at first, so it doesn't look great. But then, like, it gets really sharp. It looks really nice. Except the fucking audio is desynced. It's like way off. And like I hear a voice talking, and there's like nobody on screen. I'm like, what is happening? And then so I like whenever that happens, you can usually like seek back like 10 seconds, and it fixes it. But I wanted to go back to the beginning because I didn't want to miss anything. So I seek back like 40 seconds, and then the video is just buffering and buffering. And it just keeps buffering and loading. It's not loading. And then I just gave up. I fucking gave up. I was like, I'm done. Maybe later I'll watch this. Nice. Oh my god. So that was my nonsense. It was fun.
Okay, that's good. Well, it's been so fucking long since we hung out.
Yeah.
I think the most crazy thing that's happened, the very last Halloween party I went to, the one that was actually on Halloween, first of all, we carved pumpkins, and it was my first time carving pumpkins ever, like
Ooh.
real. And so I carved like one with a cat on it because I have a new kitten. And that was cool. I was very proud of myself. I was like, I did this.
I'm surprised people allowed you to hold a knife around them.
I'm not that weird, okay? And then a bunch of my friends and we all went to this Halloween party. It was way in Fort Wayne. We got a hotel room, and so at one of these parties, I decided to have an after party. Well, so okay, my first thought was like, we're just gonna have this casual after party. All of my roommates, who we all got the room together, were like, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a nice time, because they kick us out at like 3. People are still wanting to have fun, right? Like, wanting to hang out. So we're like, yeah, we'll just all go back to the hotel room, hang out. So we brought these glow sticks, and so we started being like, we'll just give glow sticks to people, because that way, like, we won't have a bunch of random people knocking on our hotel room later to come, because that happens when you have a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, yeah, this will work out. And so we get back to the hotel room, people start coming, it's fine. People keep coming.
Oh no.
And suddenly there are 40 people in the room.
That's a fire hazard.
And I was like, oh no, what has happened? I didn't mean for this to occur. So like people started hanging out in the hallway of like the room, the hotel, and like outside by our room. And someone brought a speaker, which I didn't even ask someone to bring a speaker, but like suddenly there's this high-tech speaker, and it's like boom, 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 and it's like playing.
Oh my god.
And luckily the hotel is not like the best hotel, so they don't give a shit. But like eventually at 3, I think it was 4 in the morning. I'm like, you all have to go. I can't. So that was not expected, but I guess it was fun. It was not a fun cleanup the next day though, because there were like pop balloon shells all over the floor, and like beer cans everywhere. It was a mess.
Man.
Somebody woke up with a glow stick up their ass.
It wouldn't have surprised me. But that was fun. But mostly I'm just happy I finally carved a pumpkin, because I've never done that. So
it's definitely an art. Like you can see really cool ones every Halloween. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just did it. Like I looked at the design on a Google image and I was like, I'm gonna try to do it. And I like drew it in Sharpie, and it turned out okay. So,
Nice job.
Good.
yeah. What about you, Leo?
Really, we've just been working a lot of 10-hour shifts at work. But
Boo!
yeah.
Boo.
Here, I'll explain why. So we have a senior hire, Felix. He's an awesome old man. He's 78 and jacked. He's like a 6-foot black guy. He's cool. But he has so much vacation left. He has to use it at the end of the year. He's going to lose it. So since like 2 weeks ago, he has to take every Thursday and Friday off. There's only 4 of us operators, so we have to make up for his time off. And then Danny's been out this week because he had to go up to Michigan to help set up the new machine. So there's just been the 3 of us, and Thursday and Friday it's just going to be me and Tony. So they came out and they told us, they go, work as much incidental as you guys can so you can stay current. I'm like, okay, so that's what's going on. But I've kind of dialed back on the Destiny lately, and I started playing Fortnite a whole lot more again.
Oh, really? Oh, boy.
There's a whole brand new map. I think it's part of it being fun. You know, the other one just got kind of old after all, even though they changed it a lot.
Yeah.
The brand new map's awesome. And during like Halloween, they had a mode called Gun Frights.
Yeah.
And it was God, I hope they bring it back. It's the most fun I've ever had in Fortnite ever. So me and my gaming buddy Kyle, it's 2v2 and it's on a very small map. And it's the best of 5 rounds. But what makes it really cool is that each round you get a random 2 weapons, but everybody gets the same random 2 weapons. So you load in and you end up with a fucking green assault rifle and an orange assault rifle. Dumb. Or you'll get like a sniper and an SMG. And you're like, all right, this is pretty good. Or sometimes you get a grenade launcher and a rocket launcher. You're like, what the fuck? So like, it's really fun, really random. I mean, and because of different weapons constantly rolling around, you had to pretty much change up your strategy almost every single round. And it was like quick in and out. It was just so much fun. The best fun we ever had. But
you know how people are always asking for like shooting ranges in games like that? Like, I think this is a really good like gamey alternative to that, where you have like these really quick rounds where you have to use random weapons, and so you can try out stuff. That was one of the best parts. We would use weapons we'd never used before, and then like I said, because the rounds would be so quick, then you would already have a new weapon set and you get to use that, which was probably one of the coolest parts. But we've also been playing a ton of duos lately, and we've won games before, but for whatever reason, this week has been awful to us. We are top 10 every fucking game, and win.
And every day we get like 1 or 2 second places, and it's just like, oh
man, that's
so
frustrating. Yeah,
yeah.
It sucks to get that close, like so routinely, and just like never be able to close the deal. You know, it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I've been up to.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
See, that was fun.
That
Why
was
are you always
fun.
trying to cut out fucking nonsense, Bcom?
Because we got a lot of stuff to cover. We got a lot of nonsense anime to cover, and that's what we're going to do
That's
right
true.
now.
No
as well.
nonsense kind of guy. Don't you know that yet?
Absolutely. All
I
nerddom,
mean, I think
no
he's
nonsense.
a pretty silly dude too sometimes, but I get it.
Occasionally. All right, we got some continuing shows. Let's start with those. Let's start with Dr. Stone. We got episodes like 13 and 14 of that. At the end of 14, I'm gonna fucking just dunk on Leo so hard. It's gonna be so much fun. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I read this and I don't know. I don't remember us having an argument about that.
Oh, we totally did. Well, kind of. Like, not a big argument, but we disagreed. So, episode 13, brief synopsis. The last thing they needed to complete those drugs to save Yuri. Oh, sorry, not Yuri. To save Yuri. I wish. That's a different show. To save Ruri is they needed to get alcohol, and to get that, they need to win the grand bout because, like, the villagers will give them, like, all the sake they want or whatever.
See, it's really funny to me that, like, the one thing they don't have to invent is alcohol. Because, like, in every civilization since the dawn of time,
People getting
we
plastered.
immediately were like, no, we need this though, because without this, we can't cope with all this stress.
Actually, Kat, what really happened usually in history was they accidentally keep inventing alcohol.
No,
they leave something out, it ferments, and then they're like, this makes me feel good.
It's not like whoops, like, you know that they're all like,
and then they figure out what they did, and then they put it into production. Yes.
yeah, like it's never an accident if it happens that many times. It's like a necessity for human like life. So we've been using this escapism. All I'm saying is since we learned how to think, we were like, we don't really want to do as much of that. Can we figure out a way not to think?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but these boys, Senku and Chrome, they're big thinkers, and Ginro too. They're trying to rig the grand bout as much as they can to get it in their favor, so like they have a better chance at beating Magma. So like they want to make it so basically like all of them are on one side, like kind of like facing like tiring out Magma in the first couple rounds, and then like Kinro will be the one guy on the other side who just have like an easy path to victory. They also they briefly mentioned it's been like 6 months since Senku arrived at the village. I didn't realize that much time had passed already. It's just
it
flying
makes sense.
by.
They've been doing a lot.
Yeah, I guess so. So Chrome is also practicing like to fight Magma. He's like his whole goal is like he's gonna like hit him in the balls and wear him down real fast. And it turns out Magma did have a plan. Like this is on the day of the bout, like to deal with Kohaku. It was just that he baited her away by like
that wasn't Magma's idea. It's his little goonie that came up with that idea.
I guess what's that guy's name? It's like
I don't know. He's deep in this character list.
He's so annoying. I hate him. He's I wrote it down somewhere, but we'll get to it, I guess.
He's not even on Mal.
Yeah, he's not on Mal. Like he's not important.
Jesus.
But one of like Magma's dudes like told Kohaku that Suika is gonna drown in the river in the forest, and they know he's probably lying, but she has to go just in case. And so if she doesn't make it back in time for her bout, then like she's disqualified, and that takes away one of their best chances at defeating Magma. So Kinro, so like their plans start going wrong when immediately like the tournament bracket pits like Kinro against Magma like right away. And Kinro's like putting up a good fight, right? But then he has problems with his vision, which he never told anybody about. Except Suika is able to like get back to the bout, and she sees that he's having trouble, and so she just like fucking yeets that watermelon helmet right onto the battlefield, and it lands like right on his head, and he's just like a stupid pose, and like everybody's like, what the hell? But now he can finally see, and he starts like beating the crap out of Magma. He's like doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But then like it looks like he's defeated Magma, and then like episode 14 starts. And the referee's like, yeah, well, like, what's his name? Magma is like, well, was that cheating, though? Because they threw something into the ring that wasn't supposed to be there.
He's also acting like he's given up, too.
Yeah, he's acting all nice and everything, yeah. And Kinro's like, yes, referee, determine whether that was cheating. I will accept your ruling. And, like, as he's going to, like, ask him about it, the referee's like, no, it's not that bad. I don't think that's a big rule break. And then fucking Magma comes up behind Kinro and just bashes him in the head. Just breaks the watermelon apart completely.
Yep.
Cat move.
Cat is rejoicing. She probably, like, ran around the room screaming at that part. Like, thank God the watermelon's gone.
I know. I was like, finally.
If they find another watermelon, are you going to be upset?
No, well, okay. She'll find something to put on her stupid bitch head, but for at least a little bit.
So yeah, there's a new OP also in this episode. It's like a pretty typical shonen OP, but like I was kind of laughing at the lewd shots of like girls' thighs stomping grapes for wine. And there was also that one super sexy shot of like some pink-haired girl sitting on a tree branch like eating cotton candy, and I was like, who's this girl? But anyway, they haven't introduced her yet. So, but yeah, so Hokapu makes it back to the grand bout, but she's like 3 seconds late, so she's disqualified. And so Senku wins that matchup. And then Ginro is actually able to win his matchup because he was like wired on caffeine and shit. So yeah, Ginro is eating like Senku's doping drink or whatever, but in like raw form. And so it works like long enough for him to win the fight, but then he gets like the shits and he's done. And so then it's Magma versus Chrome, which is like the big matchup I predicted, but it's not in the final round. So I'm like, is Leo going to be right? Is Senko going to beat Magma?
Well, I said Senku's going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, you did say Senku's going to win the whole thing, which I guess we don't know yet, even by the end of this episode. But So Chrome tries to fight, but Magma just starts beating the crap out of him, and he's just like destroying his legs and stuff. And like Chrome like crawls over to the broken watermelon, and he sees that there's like a lens there, and he like puts it on the end of his spear or whatever, and he kind of like lifts it up and like directs it towards Magma. And Magma's like, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Like, what's happening? And so, like, the whole idea is that, you know, with a convex lens, you can focus the light of the sun into, like, a point, and then you can start a fire with it, obviously. And so he wants to, like, start a fire on on Magma's clothes and, like, freak him out. But the problem is, like Senku points out, like the glasses, their lenses are concave, and so they spread light out, and like, you know, it condenses on your eyeball, not on the thing past your glasses. So it's the wrong kind of lens. And also, Crunchyroll's subtitles got super fucking confused about what a concave and convex lens was, because like it made no sense for a second there. They were just like interchangeably using the names. But like Chrome's smart, he like was crying and he's sweating, and so like he dripped water onto the lens, which made it into the right kind of lens, the convex lens. And so also Oscuri Gen, that mentalist guy, shows up and he realizes that they need to stall for time because it's going to take, like, Senku calculates in his head it's going to take 60 seconds for the clothes to catch on fire. So Gen like just does some dumb sorcery bullshit, like magic tricks, and distracts Magma long enough that his clothes catch on fire, and then he tries to pad out the fire, but it's like a surface flash fire, and it like spreads all over his body. And then Chrome knocks him off a fucking cliff, and
by hitting him in the nuts.
Yeah, right in the fucking testicles, and Chrome wins. Chrome defeats Magma. Who would have thought? Down goes Magma. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy.
Did we really not think that was going to happen, though?
I mean, Leo thought Senku would defeat Magma. He definitely said that a couple episodes ago. And I was like, I think it's set up for Chrome. Because, like, I understand Leo's like, oh, it's the main character of the show. Of course he'll win. But, like, they've set up this whole, like, love story between Chrome and Ruri.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. I was like, yeah, of course they'll figure out a way to
I mean, Senku can still win. He's just going to be like, I'm not going to marry you. But I'll be the leader of the tribe now.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really nice to see Chrome actually use his own brains to do a little bit of his own science, so that was really cool.
Yeah, he surprised Senku there. Like, I mean, Senku might have told him all the basics, but he's applying them in cool ways that, it's not just Senku's idea.
I want an update on Taiju and Yuzuyahara also.
They're so far away.
What? Where have they been? Taiju's listed as the main character. He hasn't been in the show for 10 fucking episodes. What is going on?
Well, they're just 6 months. They've just been hanging around with Tsukasa's people, I guess. I don't know.
They've been off banging each other nonstop.
I mean, I hope so. Like, good for them if they are.
Good for them.
All right.
I don't know. Do you think we'll keep covering? I still like the show. It's pretty okay.
I think it's pretty fun. Like, I'm sort of invested in it. Like, it's not like my favorite show or anything, but I think it has a shot at making top 8.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Vinland Saga also has a shot.
It has more than a shot. I think it's pretty.
It's pretty locked in. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So episode 13, 14, the new OP came in this episode by Man with a Mission. It had some like weird like broken English quote at the beginning, and I was just like, come on, Japan, you can do better than this.
Oh yeah, I heard that too, and I was like, what?
Well, so
I hate it when they do that with these shows. Like, okay, it's not that hard. If you're gonna have an English like lyric in your song, it's really not that hard to have like someone tell you whether or not it's accurate.
Well, it wasn't even like a lyric. It was like a poem that showed up at the beginning of the OP that was just like not in perfect English, and I was like, what?
Well, but that's what I mean. Like, a lot of these shows have that, and it'll be grammar or something that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it bugs the fuck out of me.
Because, like, an American TV show, like, if it's gonna put, like, a Japanese, like, fucking sentence as, like, a poem at the beginning, it's gonna get it right? Like, we don't get it wrong, typically. Like,
maybe we do, and we just don't know. Because, like, we don't have, like, Japanese people calling in to be like, hey, you did it wrong, bitches. Like, maybe we're just as bad, and we just don't know, because we don't know.
But we
the other
like usually
languages.
ask a Japanese person, like, was this right before we put it on like Netflix, you know? Like,
You would hope. I don't know enough about, but I hope we do. But yeah, like it bugs me. I don't know. And some shows especially are bad. Like I don't know what anime it's from, but if you look up like one day when I was just really tired at like 3 a.m. I remember I was so angry. I think at the anime that does the metal openings.
Wait.
That's based on a video game. Or not.
Based on
Metal opening on a video game?
Or not a video, but But anyway, I remember I was so pissed off at their shitty English lyrics in this metal song that I looked up online like shitty English in anime. and there's like especially a anime episode that was filmed in a woman's jail that they used a lot of English in. That is some of the worst English that I've ever
Oh my god.
If you ever want to laugh, just listen to these voice actors try to act like badass, like Orange is the New Black characters, basically.
Is this like prison school or something? Like
I don't know what it is. It looks like a shitty anime, but it's basically a bunch of Japanese voice actors trying to act like they're American prisoners, like Orange is the New Black style, and they'll like try to be like, "I'm gonna make." Oh yeah, you white girl, I'm gonna fuck you up, blah blah blah. But like, in like the most broken like English that you've ever heard in your life, and also trying to be intimidating.
Oh my god,
it's amazing.
Not great.
You should check it out. Just saying.
You know what else isn't intimidating? These Welsh troops who have tried to ambush Askeladd and his men.
Now that I've like derailed this, okay, go ahead.
They've like, they've pulled them, like they've got their bows and arrows like pulled against them and everything, but Askeladd's like calling their bluff basically. He's like, they're just like showing off. They're trying to intimidate us, but they don't really have anything. They don't want to fight. And he tries to call up Canute from the back to like speak to them and either calm them down or intimidate them and just let them pass, basically. Because he's the prince, so he speaks with like a lot of weight.
And I was like, you really think he's going to say something? Have you not been paying attention this entire fucking time?
I know, like the one dude keeps looking at him like, oh, he's going to do it this time. Like he has such infinite faith in him, and I just keep thinking to myself, you know that he's a piece of wimpy trash. Like, why do you keep looking to him like he's gonna do something?
Well, they kind of Askeladd and that Welsh guy Gratianus talk to each other like after this happens, after he like is not able to say anything once again. And Gratianus is like, if you're gonna like do what I think you're gonna try and do with this prince, you're gonna need to get him to like come out of his shell. Like they talk about how Ragnar is like protecting him like a little bird, like a chick in its shell, but it has to leave the nest eventually someday. And so Askeladd knows that. And so I think he's trying to just like prod Canute until he just eventually overcomes his fears, like at some point, which starts to happen.
Yeah.
But.
And I guess Thorfinn is helping Canute because he's just like by harassing him constantly. Sometimes Canute like says something, and then everyone else is like, "Holy shit, he said something!" Like, oh, I don't know. And I just get irritated mostly at Ragnar because he defends him constantly, and he's like, "You don't know how hard it's been for him, poor Canute."
Well, yeah, they talk
the life
about
of royalty is so hard.
Well, they talk about how like the royal family like was just like tearing each other to pieces for a chance at the throne and stuff, and so like it's a miracle Canute survived all that basically.
I mean, I can see that happening. I can see it being tough, but don't act like it's harder than all the shit that all these common people have to go through because they have their own shit.
Oh yeah, obviously, like as we will see in the like episode 14 especially. Holy shit.
And in the end, like, yeah, you've probably had a tough life. I'm not gonna deny you that, but I'm gonna respect you based on if you've pulled your shit together and moved on.
Yeah.
Not whether you're
Canute's
crumbled in the corner.
a big pussy. And I
Yeah.
think it's either at this scene or later on that like Thorfinn finally calls him out and he's like, "Are you really the same age as me?" I'm like,
Yeah.
thank
Oh, I
you.
love
Somebody
that.
call him on his bullshit. Thank you for doing that.
Yes. I was so tired of everyone being like, his life's been so hard. Let's give him all the slack in the world. I'm like, thank God someone finally was like,
This dude is never gonna make it as a king.
oh, I
He's
know.
Done.
But he might be useful for somebody else as like a figurehead king, which is I think what Askeladd is thinking about, basically down the line. So they end up negotiating with like this Welsh guy from Bryceiniog. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's ridiculous. And like they offer him some sensitive information, and what that information is that Askeladd is actually the son of Lydia, who was a Roman, like, Celtic, like, Welsh person. Like, we find out later, like, literally his dad is... Or actually, we find out right now. His dad was a Viking raider who came to Wales and took this woman as his concubine.
Was she like royalty or something?
He claims that he has a bloodline that is related to Artorias, who is basically who King Arthur is based off of, like the king of Britannia. And so he claims to be a descendant of King Arthur, essentially. And so he's basically trying to persuade this leader that he's not actually a friend of the Danes. They can view him as like a powerful like spy or agent who is like rising up the ranks, and like he's going to promise to get them a non-aggression treaty, which is what they really wanted because they don't want the Vikings coming in and wrecking their shit like they did with England. And like he kind of says like the reason like they can trust him is like he hates how his father treated his mother. Like the scene from the beginning of this episode was basically a young Askeladd bringing his mother home.
Dude, that was like, I was like, what? Wait, what was that? What was it? I had no idea what that scene was about when it first popped up. It was just out of nowhere. I thought I'd like honestly be like, oh shit, did I accidentally skip an episode?
Well, yeah, the next episode did that too, where it starts off with that scene of that Christian girl Anne, and it's just like, what was that about? Like it's so it did it twice in 2 episodes, where it just like starts off with like a total non sequitur, and then makes it make sense later. But yeah. The guy like kind of agrees, and Askeladd's men like end up crossing through Welsh territory as like fake prisoners. They like give up their weapons, except for Ragnar and Thorfinn, who refuse. This is where Thorfinn keeps like goading Canute for being like a coward, and Canute finally talks like for the first time in the show, like extensively talks, and basically says like he's not afraid of speaking. Which is kind of a lie, because like he's basically also saying like, but I need to be careful when I speak because I'm a prince and my words carry weight, and I can't just go signing treaties on behalf of my father if he doesn't approve of them. Like anything I say could lead to like dire consequences for people, basically, is what he's kind of saying. And Thorfinn's just like continued to be like, yeah, whatever, bullshit. They just start screaming at each other, and it's pretty funny. They're all shocked that Canute talked. The second episode, 14, was really interesting because it started off with that scene of Anne, who's a Christian English girl. And then it quickly moves to that scene of like the 2 Viking like soldiers who I think are brothers who fight on the battlefield together. They're talking to that drunk monk guy, Willibald, about love, because he's still going on about love and what that means. And they're trying to figure out what the hell he's talking about. And they talk about this tale of when they fought this man in the Faroe Islands. We obviously know it's Thor's. And Willibald, when he hears how, like, he never drew his sword, he only used his fists, and, like, he said how a true warrior never needs to use a sword, he's just, like, awestruck. He's like, tell me more about this guy. Like, this is, like, that, chivalrous, like, pacifistic idea of love that he is kind of aspiring to. And so he wants to know as much as he can about him. Meanwhile, so we go back to Anne, and she like goes outside to like take something out of a tree that she put there in the beginning of the episode, and it's this ring that she stole from a market because she's like, oh, it looks really pretty, I need to take it. But now she's all worried because like she thinks the devil is going to send her to hell because like she's sinned. And her whole family is really Christian. They'd been like eating dinner and like talking to like the youngest son about like the devil and why you have to pray every day and all this stuff. And she's just like, oh man, I'm gonna be like sent to hell, and the rest of my family's gonna go to heaven. And as she's thinking about that, she sees Viking soldiers like surround her house. And then like Bjorn goes in and he like fucking throws their food on the floor because it tastes terrible. And like the mother gets up and she's like, don't waste food. And he just like backhands her into oblivion. Like, I literally think she's just dead.
I'm pretty sure it killed her.
Yeah, it was real bad. And then, like, everybody else is like, okay, we get the idea. And they basically tell him, like, give us all your food or you're going to die. And, like, Anne's father, like, they gather...
Or
like,
you're going to die?
Well...
No, you're going to die.
I mean, like, it turns out, give us all your food and you're going to die. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, and, like, I guess Willibald actually had tried to, like, yell out and save as many villagers as he could, but, like, it wasn't loud enough. They couldn't hear it over, like, this raging blizzard. And that's part of the reason they stopped in the first place, because it was snowing and they had to like get supplies and somewhere to stay for the night, basically. But yeah, it turns out like Anne is not discovered, but the rest of the villagers are rounded up. And like her father is like begging, like, just please leave us with like half the food. Like we can make it through winter on half the food and you can take the rest. That's fine. And Askeladd's like, oh no, don't worry. You're not going to have to worry about food like this year or next year or the year after that, because we're just going to free you from this mortar coil. Don't worry about it. And they just fucking slaughter this entire village worth of people. And part of the reason is because Askeladd knows that if any of them escapes and tells the enemy where they are, then they're screwed. So they can't let that happen. But still, it's pretty brutal to just kill this entire village. And then there's that scene where the daughter, Anne, like wanders up like a snowy hill and she has this conversation with God where she says, I know that what I witnessed was terrible, but I never knew that there were such like wicked men who like could completely disregard what God thinks, like don't even care about sinning. And she's kind of like admitting to herself that she's really excited by that. Even though her whole family just died, like, she's excited about being free from the idea of being subservient, you know?
When you've lived a very restrictive life. Mm-hmm. I get it.
Cat speaking from the heart, guys.
You're like, what? I'm free? Nothing else.
I know my entire family was just slaughtered, but damn, that was hot. That's basically what it boils down to.
I also would like to call into question their ability to hand dig a mass grave in a frozen ground.
Yeah, for like 62 people, they said. I was like, what?
That's a lot. You have to dig a long time.
That is a lot. Yeah.
I don't know, and it looked super cold. Like I don't know how they had the tools to do that. You had to have broken like 50 fucking shovels or 62 shovels for each fucking person trying to dig that damn grave.
That's a very specific amount, 62.
One shovel per person. A shovel per person.
Leo's like, I went out and tried this. I really wanted to know.
I have had to dig in partially frozen ground to bury a dog. And
wow.
That was a nightmare.
Are you sure it was a dog, Leo? Are you sure you're not admitting something to us?
It may have been one of the bodies you had me dispose of. I don't remember.
Okay. I wondered. I was like, I never did know how you dispose of those. So.
Oh man.
Either I do it or I'm the next one that's getting disposed of.
I also want to point out that while we were having this discussion, my cat, like, I hid his toys from him so that he could not disturb everyone. And he, like, stealthily came up and stole it back from me and I was, like, trying to get it away from him, and he was like, fuck no, and, like, wouldn't, like, he kept holding on to it and finally jerked it away and ran off.
Oh, my God. Cats are the best. I love cats. They're so brutal.
They're brutal, but, like, in the end, aren't dogs better? Because, like, my dog's just sitting here being a good girl.
But yeah, I'm excited that Knut is finally becoming a character now, because it's been a while.
How good of a character are you going to be, though?
He's starting to have some semblance of a human traits. I don't know if you can call him a character yet.
Yeah, maybe not yet. Yeah. But he's getting there. So that's exciting. Thorfinn, less of a character right now. Thorfinn is
He's just very brooding. He's just very like, I'm an angry person.
Yeah.
Like that's all.
Yeah, he got a little bit sidelined.
Yeah, he's been sidelined
episode.
for a bit while like Askeladd is getting really fleshed out. Yeah. So yeah.
Fleshed out just to get killed by Thorfinn.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what happens next.
All right. So another show not continuing from last season, but which we have covered previously, it was Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Die Neue These, second season. Now,
yeah, so like I did
this
notice.
was weird. Yeah.
I think that you want to like talk about how they're go ahead.
Oh yeah, so like it's weird because when we left off, we were like, yeah, we're excited, we're looking forward to these like 3 movies that are going to come out. Because they're going to cover like some of the best parts of the original Legend of the Galactic Heroes story. And so we're excited for that. And then Crunchyroll announces, actually, we're distributing these to the United States in 4-episode chunks. So 4 episodes per movie, and we're going to air them weekly. And it's going to basically just be a TV show. And I'm like, oh, well, that's fucking cool, because we could potentially like cover it then.
Wait till we get to what Cycle Pass season 3's doing.
Oh God, yeah, that one's weird too. But yeah, so yeah, Kat, what did you have to say? I just thought it was cool how like they turned it into a TV show, and it feels like it's made to be a TV show. It does not
It doesn't
feel like a movie.
like I would agree with that. I think they did a good job. I think this anime is gonna have a little bit of a hard time this season getting new people interested in it. I think that it'll keep its like loyal fan base.
Yeah,
But it's very slow in the way that the plot is going right now. I mean, it's very interesting and fascinating. Like if you're actually like paying attention to what's going on the screen, a lot of amazing things are happening. A lot of really cool plot is happening.
yeah,
But it's not like, ooh, shiny, flashy. Like, you have to actually think and, like, really concentrate. And I've noticed, like, from the people that I've tried to get into Legend of the Galactic Heroes, it's hard because most people are like, but where are the shiny things?
The explosions.
Well, I'll say that at least because it was made as a movie, I feel like it looks a little bit sharper than it even did in the first new season of this. Like the space battles, which obviously this starts off with like a big one.
Yeah.
Like,
And the space battle helps.
Yeah.
It's just, I think the average person who watches anime is not used to having to think so hard to know what's going on in a show. So even the space battle, you actually have to pay attention quite a bit and like think about what's happening to know what's happening. You can't just watch it and go, ooh, he kicked him. Ooh, he stabbed him.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of strategy. Even among like the shiny, flashy, like things are exploding. So I think in that way, the younger anime audience does not latch on to this as much. And it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because it has great animation. It's an amazing storyline. I think it will keep its fans, though. And I really think this isn't for us anyway, in the end. It's really for Japan. And it'll keep going just because it's got its own fan base. So
yeah, it's all about like the political nuance and everything, and yeah, it's covering. So like it covers that big battle where Yang Wenli's like planetary alliance forces get like totally fucked because if you remember at the end of the first season, like they were trying to plunge into like Empire territory to basically like do like a big attack, and it was all like spurred on by politicians who were like war hawks and they didn't really know what they were talking about. And like Yang was trying to like mitigate like all the problems, but it just came crushing back down on them.
I love Yang so much, by the way.
Yang is like, great. Oh, I love Yang.
Yang is my like boy. if I could steal any anime character, maybe Yang.
I mean, that's a good choice, honestly.
He's the Yang to your yin. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's pretty awesome. He's smart. Like
he's good looking. He's dashing.
He's good looking. Yeah, he's dashing. He's like clever. I don't know. Seems like it'd be fun to talk to him every day.
If you just put some brandy in his tea, he'll love you forever. Like, just put a lot of brandy in his tea, and he'll be fine.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, like, so after that whole battle is wrapped up and, like, the freaking Planetary Alliance has to, like, retreat, like, basically it starts playing out with, like, the next set of political stuff. Because you would think that, like, oh, the Empire has the upper hand now. They can just attack the Planetary Alliance. But what happens is the Emperor dies, like, almost immediately after this battle. And so Reinhardt has to go home and deal with like the problems with that because there's multiple factions vying for the throne now, and he has to back one of them.
Frustrated that he died because he wanted to like punish him for what he's done to his sister. And so honestly, like the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, it's such a relief he's dead, like it's probably gonna be great for him. And then I was surprised, like, oh no, he's not happy about this at all. Like he wanted revenge, and now he can never get revenge.
I mean, he's happy at least that his sister is like free from, you know, serving at the pleasure of the emperor. But yeah, he didn't get that revenge that he wanted particularly. But so now
I almost wonder if towards the end, like, she wasn't really doing much except keeping him company anyway. Like,
probably.
When you get to a certain point, like, can you have that much sex anymore? Probably not.
Could you read me Harry Potter, please, or something like that?
Yeah, it's probably more like that towards the end. But yeah, no, I get where he's coming from. I don't know. I just think in the end, like, at least the problem is over.
But I'm even if we don't cover this, I'm definitely watching it because it's going to cover one of the best parts of the original series. And it's like around the first like 25 episodes of the original, 24 episodes, whatever that first arc is. So like the second half of that arc is what this covers, and it's going to be exciting. So
yeah, it is very interesting because in this kind of arc is both sides are kind of having this big conflict within themselves at the same kind of point. Mm-hmm. And you get to see how both of them handle that and how it, you know, affects the conflict between the two of them. And it's all very complex and it's so full of political drama. And I love the fuck out of it. And I just don't understand why it's not more popular. Ugh.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell I didn't watch it?
That's all right. I mean, we watched the first season together and we had fun. But yeah, it's cool. Do you guys want to take like a quick break since we're breaking this up and come back afterwards and just talk about the brand new shows?
Sure.
I guess. Let's do that. I think they'll better divide up the episode that way.
Okay.
All right. So we'll be right back. Peace.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Hi, I'm JD, your host of the Red Leaf Retrocast, your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. Our podcast has 4 shows for you to listen to between retro gaming, modern gaming, anime, and even wrestling. The Retro Gaming Cast covers discussion topics, and each episode we discuss retro games picked based on a decided theme for that episode, ranging from space all the way to console specials like the old handheld Game Boy. Our Modern Gaming Cast is monthly and covers video game titles that were released in that previous month. Each anime cast, we focus to review a retro anime each and every episode, like the original Mobile Suit Gundam to the racing hit Initial D. But that's not all. We also keep up with the seasonal shows, by occasionally doing impressions and reviews as well. Finally, our last show is about wrestling, where we keep the rising indie scene up to date, while also covering shows from the bigger promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan, and WWE, so we cover it all. We also cover a retired wrestler every episode in what we call the Wrestler Spotlight, and are currently on a quest covering old WCW Thunder episodes from the late 90s, every cast. So if any one of those casts sound like something you'd like to check out, that's the Red Leaf Retrocast, Gaming, Anime, and Wrestling, found at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and all your favorite podcasting sites. Also, you can learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. We can't wait to see you soon.
Hey dude, you into anime, manga, and all that radical stuff?
Oh yeah, man, it's tubular.
Then you should totally check out the...
This transmission has been hacked. If you want discussions, debate, reviews, and all in between, you must listen to the Anime Radicals Network at www.animeradicals.com. There's timely reviews, revolutions, mecha, and much more. Find it on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all podcast catchers. The Anime Radicals Network.
The revolution will be simulcast.
Okay.
We made it back and Cat punished her cat.
Yeah, that sounds really pervy.
Oh, that could be misinterpreted pretty badly.
I guess.
Everyone, I was like, really, Leo? Really?
Are you really punishing it, or are you, pleasuring it? I don't
Is it in
know.
solitary
Okay.
confinement now?
Yeah, no, I put my cat in like the spare room because he can't stop being like hyper as shit. My kitten, he is a weird cat. I've never had a cat that's like hyper.
Mm-hmm.
Leo says all cats are. I don't know. I've never had one like that.
I've had cats that are like occasionally hyper, but if they're hyper all the time, I would get pretty tired of that real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also a kitten, so I'm assuming part of it is that.
Oh yeah, kittens are just like balls of energy.
I don't know why you
Yeah.
think I would say that, because Akane, my cat, is not a hyper cat. She plays and runs around sometimes, but she lays more than anything.
Yeah, see, Tux is a very chill cat, and so I was like, yeah, like, this is all right. And then I can't even step, because, like, he'll run and, like, run into me and, like, run around, and I'm like, holy shit, I won't step on you, because he's still only, like, 4.5 pounds.
Yeah.
I'd, like, squish him.
Don't worry, cats are pretty spongy. They can take a hit.
I mean, still, though, you'd be concerned. So...
Well, speaking of things that are so small that if you step on them, they might just squish. Ahiru no Sora.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
So this is an anime. So since we're getting into new stuff, I'll describe like what they are, where they're coming from. It's streaming on Crunchyroll and High Dive. It's from a manga and from Studio Diomedia. And the director, Keizo Kusakawa, directed Action Hero and Cheerfruits, Leo.
Holy
Woo!
shit, this again?
They also directed Happy Sugar Life.
Oh no, and
I love
Fuka.
it. Yes.
Oh my god.
This is dude, this right alone tells me not to fucking watch this show. I don't care what it's about.
Leo, shut your mouth. It's a good show.
It's just weird to me that they were like, this is the person we should get to just direct this 50 episode basketball anime. Happy Sugar Life guy. Let's get him. So yeah, this is a basketball anime where the main character is short. Yeah. That's basically the main thing about it. But there's a little bit more. I mean, he's not just short. He's like really short. He's 5 foot flat. Like,
Yeah.
so that's not a good height for basketball. Let me just say. He's like following in the footsteps of his mother, who was a basketball player also. And like she tells him things like, being short isn't a disadvantage. In fact, it's really an advantage because people will assume that you're not a threat. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's a big disadvantage.
It's a big disadvantage. Wait, who's the one famous short one? Was it Pippins?
Well, there's like Muggsy Bogues. Like recently, there's been like Nate Robinson.
I'm specifically thinking about the one from Space Jam.
I think that's Muggsy Bogues. I'm pretty sure, unless
think
I'm
it's-
mixing them up. Wait,
Okay.
hold on. Space Jam shortest player.
We have to know.
Yeah, it's Muggsy Bogues. Yeah.
Okay. That's who I'm thinking about.
So, yeah, I mean, like, you can be, like, a good basketball player, but you have to be, like, a freak of nature at that height to play at the highest level anyway. So, yeah, his superpower, though, apparently, we kind of sort of find out by the second episode of this, is that he has amazing depth perception. Like, there's a scene in the second episode where he's in the locker room, and their locker room is, like, right next to the girls' locker room. And there's, like, fucking peepholes in there. Like, you would think the girls would notice there are peepholes. But anyway.
I wondered about that, too. Like,
Yeah.
how have they not noticed these peepholes? Because, like, first of all, there's one. I'm like, it's kind of weird they didn't notice that, but whatever. Then there's another one. And I'm like... How are they not noticing all this? Like, come on, girls.
like,
Be more
a little bit of
self-aware.
awareness would be good
Yeah.
a long way, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of the delinquent guys who's, like, in the basketball club gets, like, a big, long pole with the hook on the end of it.
I thought you were going to say a big long boner for a second.
Well, that too.
He gets a big, long pole. All right,
Because
Bcom.
they see a bra on the floor in the girls'
and they're
locker
gonna
room.
steal it,
Yeah, they're
which-
gonna steal it.
What the fuck?
What are you going to do with it
Steal
after
a
you
girl's
steal
bra?
it?
They're gonna sniff it, and it's gonna
Okay.
smell like girls.
I was angry about this. Like, bras cost like $60. Don't steal a girl's bra. If you're gonna steal underwear, at least steal underwear. Like, panties only cost $20 max if they're a nice pair of underwear. bras cost 3 times that. Don't steal a girl's bra. All right.
I mean, they might have given it back eventually. But...
No, they're not. No, it's going to be covered in some nasty shit that you don't want to put that bra on again.
But yeah, this whole stupid premise is just so, like, the little guy, like, the main character, can be like, you know, that stick is, like, 12 centimeters short. I can tell, because I have good depth perception. And so that's why, like, he apparently has a good jump shot, because he can realize the depth perception.
Wouldn't he make, like, a better outfielder for, like, baseball or something?
Yeah,
then?
he'd be really good at that. Yeah, for sure. Like, judging fly balls would be good for that, too.
Because height isn't that important if you're an outfielder.
No, yeah, he'd be, like, he should definitely think about playing baseball. So, yeah, but, like, so beyond that, like, the basic setup is, like, everybody in his club is kind of disillusioned with basketball. They're all these, like, delinquent guys. But you find out that, like, one of the main ones that they focus on is the blonde guy named Haru. And he's basically disillusioned because he was not very talented, but he worked harder than anyone else at basketball. And he got pretty good, but then, like, his coach just benched him because he wasn't as good as this, like, first-year talented player who just had natural talent and easily, like, was better. And so he's like, I'm quitting basketball, and he's basically not done anything with it since. And then there's also the main girl, who I think is, like, it's Momoharu's girlfriend, I think. But I'm pretty sure. Like, I read in her, like, character profile, and I think that was in the first episode. They, like, briefly mention it. But
yeah,
like,
I don't know. I wasn't paying too much attention to the girl, honestly.
Yeah, she, like, takes an interest in the main character and is like, there's, like, a big match between, like, the delinquents and him in, like, the first episode, and, like, he proves that he's, like, good enough to play with them, and it's like
that
a whole
was
thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He whooped them. Like, okay,
Yeah, he did.
He is like what, 10 against 1 or something?
It's at least 3-on-1 at first. Or like
it was a lot against 1. It was at least 5. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot against 1 basically, and he's like, if I can beat you guys, then you have to be on the team, and he does that. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, he's pretty talented, like, dribbler, and, like, he's got some moves. But
he can drive. He can like shoot from far away. Yeah, he's got good skills.
But yeah, it seems like it's going to be a type of thing where he's so passionate about basketball that he's going to get all these, like, disillusioned guys back into it, kind of thing.
Well, and a lot of them have good characters, like the Yakuza guys who are all disillusioned. Like, I don't think it's going to be unboring.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be boring. Like, it's fine. It's just...
that's what I mean.
It feels like a show that I've kind of seen before in some ways. I don't know. Like, I feel like I've seen this kind of thing play out before in different sports series, but...
I understand what you're saying. Like,
yeah, I
will admit to you, it's the same old thing. A lot of sports animes in Japan have this whole, like, he's really short, though, type thing. Kind of like Haikyuu had that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that a lot of these series would be more unique, but sports shows in general are very formulaic.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I think that the short player thing in Japanese culture sort of it speaks to them, because it's like, oh, this person has this huge disadvantage, and through the power of hard work they've succeeded, and that's what Japanese culture really likes. So
that's true.
It speaks to them. I think that's why you see it a lot.
I just felt like, did you ever watch Kuroko no Basket, Kuroko's basketball?
Oh, yeah. And it's just, I know.
It's just like, I mean, that thing had so much more of a hook to it because it had, like, the generation of miracles, and, like, it was crazy, and, like, they almost had supernatural powers. So I'm just curious how this show keeps things interesting as it goes on.
Okay, so that was fun because they had the supernatural powers, and I'll agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun in a different way. Like, it almost reminds me of another show we're going to talk a little bit about, which we haven't kept up with, but the Japanese instrument show.
Oh, Kono Oto Tomare, yeah.
Oh, doesn't that have a lot of Yakuza guys in it as well, where they have to kind of rehabilitate them and deal with some of them not wanting to, them changing as people. It reminds me of that. So it's got that element to it, which Kuroko no Basket never did. So it's more of a show where these people who have never been good at basketball and have like been down on their luck and have this like shitty life are now going to try their best to be good and like maybe get themselves out of the shitty life, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Kuroko no Basuke is more like, we're all professionals and we've been professionals and we're going to do another step up, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Like, I'll definitely watch a few more episodes at least. We'll see. Yeah.
I know I'm always defending like the sports anime or the yaoi and the sports animes. I'm always like, no, let me tell you why it's really good still.
Well, I'm a big fan of sports anime too, for sure. It's just like, I guess, I don't know. I this one just didn't particularly like hit me like a lot of others do. So, I mean, at least not yet.
That.
I mean, it's early still, so.
I mean, I am partial because I do really like Yankee Boys and like Yakuzas and this has a lot of those. So I get that part too.
All right, the next show, Kemono Michi, Rise Up. Also known as Hata Age Kemono Michi. It's from a manga. It's also from Studio Engi. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Engi.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and the director, Kazuya Miura, directed Dramatical Murder. This is also from original creator Natsume Akatsuki, who created Konosuba.
Hell yeah! Woo! And you can definitely tell as soon as you start watching it.
Yeah. Leo, can you kind of break down what this anime is about?
Oh, so it's about this Japanese professional wrestler, and he gets summoned to another world to be a hero by a princess.
Yeah.
That he has to German suplex because she wants him to defeat the monsters and animals that are plaguing her, I guess, place or whatever.
But he loves animals.
He's an animal lover. He wants to open his own pet shop.
He is an animal lover.
Oh no.
He loves animals.
You just want to talk about the werewolf dog guy?
Yeah,
real
the
quick?
fucking Cerberus dog was the point in the show where I was like, all right, this is okay. Even before that, I was like, all right, this is like kind of like getting into like furry territory a little bit. Like this is a little sketchier. But then he like fucking tackles that dog. And then he got the dog. He's got the dog upside down. He's got his face like in his butt. And he's like rubbing his face.
Is in the butt, dude.
Oh,
it has
it's
to
like
be.
It's just so weird. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Oh man, that is like the image from the show that I remember after watching a couple episodes. Like I can't get it out of my head. Oh my god, it's weird.
One of the other really fun parts is I immediately in my head was like, all right, who in this show is Aqua? Who's Darkness? Who's Megumi? You know, and stuff like that. And like, you only really meet Genzo and the cat girl Shigura in the first two episodes, but you learn of like other two, but you don't really get an idea of what kind of characters are. So like, if I had to start now, I think Genzo, to me, is more like Darkness, just a different fetish.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shigure, to me, feels a lot like Aqua, because one, she's fucking absolutely useless. When he first meets her, she's completely in debt. And every time there's something I mention of making money, she's like, I'm on board. And I'm like, these are Aqua characteristics by far.
Absolutely. No, it's true. Like, I mean, he's kind of got like the same basic like characters in this, and they're. It's not like the same exact show though, or anything. But yeah,
it's the same sense of humor.
Yeah, it is the same humor, except with more rubbing your nose in a dog's taint, which I don't understand the appeal of. But
yeah,
it was goofy and weird.
I'm glad none of us do. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and like he keeps like, and he's like made a name for himself as like the Demon Slayer, but he doesn't want people to call him the Demon Slayer, so he beats them up every time they do it. And like he basically defeats all these animals by basically winning them over, like with the Cerberus dogs. Like he's scratching their stomachs and scratching their necks. And you're like,
so it's actually kind of cute in that way, where it's just like, oh, he's just like
a
being nice to animals.
Lizard at some point, and yeah. So like. It's funny, it's amusing. it's going to be high on my list.
And it has that like weird wrestling angle to it, which is kind of fun because you get to see him do fucking wrestling moves and stuff. So
Yeah, wrestling poses and stuff. And like, if you ever seen any Japanese wrestling, it takes
awesome.
American wrestling to like, it's like how they do it with their baseball. There's just like so many extra entertaining, even it seems very strange at first elements if you're not used to it.
New Japan Pro Wrestling is fucking cool. Yeah. So yeah. Kat, did you have any thoughts on that show before we move on?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
That's sad.
The next one, Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious, which is on Funimation. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned that Kemono Michi is also on Funimation.
So, this may be the first anime I've ever seen, this overly cautious one, where like the girl is constantly thirsty. And they're very open about it. I like it. I like that.
Yeah, it is different.
Yeah, it's based on a light novel, and that's kind of weird for a light novel, so that's kind of cool. And the studio is White Fox, who they do good work. And director Masayuki Sakoi has worked on Sora no Method and Strawberry Panic, so that's an interesting resume. But the general idea is there is this girl named Restart, and she has to choose a hero to be isekai'd into her world so that they can save... Because she's a goddess, so they can save the world, basically. And so
that's tall order for any hero.
Yeah. And so she's going to like this like list of like possible heroes and looking at their stats and stuff, and she finally like settles on this one guy named Seiya because he's pretty good. He's got really high stats. Like he'll fit the bill. So she fucking summons him into the world. Only problem with this guy is he's just ridiculously overcautious about everything. Like, even going into a battle with the weakest slime creature imaginable, he'll use, like, the strongest, like, nuclear bomb attack that he has over and over and over and over and over again till it's, like, just clear that this thing is, like, nothing more than ash and dust.
It's not even ash or dust at this point. It's basically non-existent.
There's just nothing there anymore.
I honestly found his character very frustrating.
Oh, he's kind of supposed to be, I feel like, yeah.
Oh, I'm just like, I am not enjoying watching this show because I hate this goddamn main character.
He's such an idiot. Yeah. But the thing I do like is watching Restart, like, react to how stupid he is.
She is the entertaining part, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the first episode alone, like, the number of crazy faces that they animated of her just expressing like her just like disbelief or her frustration.
I will say this is up around the Sobi Asobase faces.
Yeah,
just like
absolutely.
Fucking crazy off the wall. Yes.
Yeah, I like her voiceovers more like, ooh, 6-pack.
Oh yeah, that's good.
When she gets really thirsty.
More than her faces. I enjoy that more, but everyone has their stuff.
So it's basically her just trying to get this guy to fucking do shit, and him being like, no, I need to do 12,000 push-ups before I go anywhere. Come back later. It's just like,
I think it's in the second episode where like he's like explaining why he's doing what he's doing, and you're like, that actually kind of makes a little bit of sense.
yeah, I mean, he's getting over-leveled and all that stuff, and yeah, just making sure that he can handle any situation kind of thing, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's cute and everything, but this show is kind of flaky and vapid. Like it's like a cute joke for a while, but then
like how long can they keep it going?
And then also, I don't think it's very realistic, because if I was just like summoned, I mean, I get being overly cautious and it's like a joke or whatever, but I wouldn't just be like, well, I guess I have to train for this now. I'd be like, no, I want to go back to my life. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I did notice on the funny side, like she keeps mentioning, like, since you're Japanese, I brought you rice. Since you're Japanese, all Japanese people love to say this because they love video games.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And I'm like, is this supposed to be a joke about like foreigners assuming things about Japanese people?
I think
or, like,
that's
what
part
is
of
this
it.
joke?
I think a little bit, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
also just like Japanese people making fun of themselves a little bit at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
it's
But maybe a little bit of both. I was like, it's cute. I like it.
I have fun with this, but yeah, I don't know.
The voice actress did Owl from Yuru Camp.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
That's cool.
It has no substance, and I don't think long term it can be entertaining. There's not enough there.
You think it's just going to kind of teeter off from here?
Yes, I think it's going to flop after a few episodes.
unless they introduce some other like interesting elements to it. I'm not sure. But the poster just has more hot girls on it, so
Yeah, I was like, they need
I
more
mean, I don't
characters.
hate it. It's not like I'm like, ew, this is the worst thing ever. I just don't think it's going to do very well.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It might be a fun watch regardless, but yeah.
That's fair.
Next show, Oresuki, Are You the Only One Who Loves Me? On Funimation and High Dive. This is another light novel show from Studio Barnum Studio, and also Connect, who worked on the legendary Armed Girls Machiavellianism.
I was going to bring that up too.
Oh my god!
I was gonna be like,
No!
with so shoujo Machiavellianism, yes.
And yeah, the director Noriaki Akitaya worked on Bakuman's anime, and like more recently Miss Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood, which is like a cute little show. So
remember that one.
yeah, this one it's just your typical rom-com harem, isn't it? Right, guys?
It's weird because the first half of the first episode, it felt like it was going on its way to be like the most generic harem romance
Oh,
I've
it
ever
was.
seen. And I was
It
watching
was.
it, I was like, what is the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what is the hook they're going for here? And who agreed to do this? And I was bored out of my mind at that point. And then finally it switched things up halfway through when like both the girls were like, I like your best friend instead, Sun-chan. And he's like, what the fuck? I was trying to be the perfect protagonist the whole time for my own harem. And I was like, okay, I see what you're doing now. Okay, I'm interested. You got me. Let's see what you do.
I love how he thought that like that was gonna work in real life. He's like, I'm gonna apply these like.
What's
harem
even
things.
funnier, one's the childhood friend and the other's a student council president.
Oh, I know.
I was like, what better generic roles could you have picked?
I love how after they admit like they like his friend, like his view of them just completely changes. Like the childhood friends, he's like this bitch who was like, oh,
Who's always hugging him and pressing her boobs
I
against him
know,
to
and
manipulate him.
she's
He's like, I know what you're doing, you cunt.
I know. And, like the other girl, she's like, you bitch too, and I love it. I'm like, aren't you trying to get with one of these people? So like, I don't understand.
So in the first episode, he decides, all right, I'll get one of them hooked up with Sun-chan, and then I'll take the poorly devastated one. I don't care. I'll take either or.
Yeah.
And the second episode is what really hooked me, because it turns into such a bigger shit show
Oh, I know.
so quickly.
So then there's this third girl,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like she's this dark, like stalker type person who likes the main character, and so she finally
And
is
she's
like,
got
I
braids
like you.
and glasses, and those are kinks of mine. I'm like, you're the best character.
And of course, like he wants none of it, and she knows like how he really is, and she likes him for how he really is. And he's like, I don't like you at all. I don't want this.
She likes his true side because he's been projecting
He's been
a
bullshitting
different
with everyone.
his
Yeah.
own
Yeah,
persona
he
the whole
wants him
time.
to. Yeah, she wants him to be like that dark asshole. Like she likes that
That's
about
what
him.
She
that's
likes
what
it,
she
yeah.
wants. Yeah, she wants the real him. So like in reality, she's the best match for him, honestly. But yeah, no, he doesn't want any of that shit. But then she's kind of gonna have her own plots for how she's gonna get at him. So
Yeah. One of my favorite things about this show, by the way, was just the funny way that like all of the girls seem to fall for this baseball player like during that championship game.
For the exact right reason, it gives the exact same lines.
Like, and
It
at the
is
exact same moment, like they were at
the
other
bench,
ends of the hallway.
The bench.
Oh, and then the bench.
like,
Yeah, the
and then
bench
he
is
was
so bad.
crying and and I'm like, how many people were spying on this moment of him crying?
It's a good recurring joke. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
So
I love how he's like, but from the north, so and so was watching, and from the south, so and so was watching.
And then
Where
in
the
the
heck could she
second
have been
episode,
hiding?
the second episode, Sun-chan, he admits that he fell in love with Sumiriko because he gives him the same fucking line sitting on the same bench that the other girls gave when he was like leaving. And oh god,
Oh, it's really funny.
so
And
funny.
of course, like, yeah, the friend who everyone else is in love with the only one who's in love with him.
Yeah.
It's
So
a whole
initially,
mess.
the two girls ask Joro to help them hook up with Sun-chan, and then by halfway through the second episode, he finds out Sun-chan likes the library girl, and then Sun-chan asks Sakura and Aoi, or what do you want to call him, Cosmos and
Cosmos.
Kimiaruri, I can't read my own handwriting,
Yeah.
to ask them to help him hook up with library girl, and
Yeah.
it's just that's when it just turns into an absolute shit show.
Library girl knows all this, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to turn this to my advantage now." And I love her too for doing that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she's fun.
amazing.
She's really fun.
this is a very
Yeah.
very entertaining show.
Yeah, it's just such a refreshing like turn on the like normal rom-com like
I
harem thing.
think that's part of it. Like you start watching this, and you're just like, "What the fuck? This is the same old," and then it just totally flips on you, and you're just like, you almost sigh. You're just like,
Thank God.
something
Yeah.
different for once. God damn.
Yeah, most of this season has like made me asleep. Like the only decent shows, most of them are recurring. They're not originals. This is one of the only shows that's original for this season that is decent. Other than maybe Akihiro no Soma, at least in my opinion.
Psycho-Pass 3 is an original too.
It's not original because it's attached to
It's an original.
previous seasons.
Well, but yeah.
It's-
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like it's attached to its own
Franchise,
series. So
like,
I'm
yeah.
not going to consider that an original. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, okay, that's
No.
another argument. I mean,
It's
like,
Psychopaths 3. You cannot call it an original.
yeah, she's saying like it's
on,
not like
Leo.
a new like IP, like it's been around. It's like
So
it's the third.
called
Yeah.
a source for a reason. So if
Well,
a manga
yeah.
gets a second season, it's not a manga.
Well, yeah, it's an
saying-
original. It's original material in the Psychopaths franchise.
Yes, it's
Yes.
something new we haven't seen before that's not part of a recurring
It's not
season.
being adapted
That's what
from
an original
anything.
is to me.
Yeah. So you're just guys are just using different, definitions of original. It's fine. We can all love each other again. Let's move on.
I
We're
love how
trying-
Bcom's like, no, not the conflict. And Leo and I are like, yes, the conflict.
I'm just like sitting
Bring it
over here,
on.
like
We're trying
not
to
again.
reach our arguing quota for the episode, okay?
Quota. Oh, I didn't realize there was a quota. Fucking.
We-
Why don't
we
you
never
argue
told
while
you.
I try
Sorry.
to talk about this next show, Ascendance of a Bookworm on Crunchyroll. This is also based on a light novel, but very weird for a light novel. Studio Ajiado, who are like a sister studio of Kyoto Animation, are working on this, and the director Mitsuru Hongo worked on Outlaw Star and World Trigger. So yeah, this show, okay, it's about this girl named Matosu Urano who loves books. Like, she's obsessed with books. All she ever wants to do is read books. And she literally dies, apparently because a pile of books fell on her in the library. And her only dying wish...
Oh, wait.
What?
I just want to point out very quickly.
Yeah,
Bcom just said library.
I did say library. And I realized I
So-
said it, and I hate you now.
So he is just as Midwestern as us, and he has to admit this about himself.
Library. Even
I say
I
library.
fucked that up. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I felt bad about that as soon as I said it. I'm not actually talking very well today. I don't know what's going on. But.
Let me throw in this one thing. The one thing that I can even recognize that the studio did was How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah. See.
So,
I don't know.
yeah, so this girl wishes that in her next life she could at least read some more books. And so she is reincarnated into
In a place where she can't fucking read any books. It's almost like
well, yeah.
God looked at her and was like, well, fuck you then. And like, I was
Gave
like,
her
no, you
her
won't be
own
able-
personal hell where she can't read.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but the weird fucked up part, and I know Kat noticed this too, is that like she's reincarnated into like a living girl's body.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I did not watch the episode, and I read that in the description somewhere, and I had the exact same thought.
So are we supposed to believe that this girl died and then she's just taking over her body? Or did she destroy this girl's consciousness? And why has she not thought about this?
Like, 'cause she gets all the girl's memories too, like they come flooding into her mind, but she can also somehow remember her old life a little bit as well, like reading.
It also disturbs me that she's not thought about this at all and been concerned about it.
It's like possible that the girl was like on her deathbed because like part of the show is that this little girl's body who she's in is really frail and like sickly.
Yeah.
So maybe that girl was about to pass away and like whatever God, whoever the powers that be decided to put her into this body as a reincarnation type thing.
Yeah, but it was weird. And
yeah.
it's even more weird to me that she didn't think about it at all. The show is very cutesy, like, oh, it's so fun and everything, and I'm just like, are we not going to acknowledge this dark part at all?
Yeah, no, it's weird. And it's funny because the show is so slowly paced, especially in the first episode, that you would think that she would stop and think about something like that. But no, instead she's just like trying to figure out where she is. She kind of like tries to get around the house and like she eventually figures out like there's no writing, there's no books in this house. And she eventually goes out with her mother, quote unquote, like this person's mother. And she at least sees that there's like numbers at like the marketplace. She knows there's like some form of writing and she gets excited about that. And just like by the end of the episode, she's like, I'm going to write books myself if I have to, if that's the only way I can get books in this world. And in the second episode, it's more of her just sort of trying to adapt to the world. Like she makes shampoo out of avocado oil so she can like clean her hair because they don't do that in this world, really. They don't wash their hair. And she also meets her father's coworker, Otto, who like promises to teach her how to write in like their language. So yeah, like, and I was also like laughing because like he shows her how to spell her name. And when you look at it, it's basically just in English, except like the M and the A are upside down. And I was like, well, that's not a very inventive alphabet. It just looks like English. But yeah, there's not much else to say about the first two episodes besides like she's just trying to make books or find out a way to how to do it or adjust to being in this weird girl's body. I will say I don't like the character designs in this show. They are kind of drab and really boring to look at. And like Mine's design, that's the main character's name, is kind of like ugly looking. Like I don't like the way that underneath her eyes, they draw like an underlid and it makes her look like she should be much older. Like it makes her look like she has like a 45-year-old woman's face, but she's on like a 10-year-old body. And it's like freaking me out. I'm just like, what is happening here?
I mean, I didn't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I thought it's probably the best isekai of all of them, in my opinion.
I mean,
because it has a plot. It has like
it's so slow though. That's the thing for me.
Know. I don't know. Like maybe High School Prodigies is a better isekai. It's either that one or this one. That's not saying a lot. That's not saying a lot because they're both not great.
Yeah,
like, this is very slow, and that makes it not great. Although I think it's kind of cute. And we'll talk about the other in a minute, but it's just this season is not great. So,
I mean, I would watch Kemono Michi over this as far as the isekais go for this season.
No, I'm not watching Kemono.
But the thing with this one is just that it's like I kind of like the main character, but I don't like anyone around her. Like I don't think anybody has stood out to me, like in her family or like other people she's met. So
I think it'll get better as time goes on. I'm almost wondering how big this anime is going to get because the how slow paced it is. It makes me feel like they want it to be more than 12 episodes, but I also don't think they'd give it more than 12 episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's weird.
All right. Next show, After School Dice Club, also on Funimation. This is from a manga and Studio Leiden Films. And the director, Kenichi Imaizumi, worked on Katekyo Hitman Reborn, and Brynhilder in the Darkness. But this is like not like either of those shows. This is just basically a show about cute girls who play board games like after school together. And it's kind of boring in my opinion because like, I don't know. So basically you meet the main girl in the beginning of the first episode. Her name is Michi. She's got blue hair and she's kind of shy and she kind of doesn't like know how to have fun. But then she bumps into this like crazy Genki girl named Aya who like literally just like they almost crashes into her on her bike and then like falls into like the river or like the, whatever. And then like has to like get up and like take all her clothes off immediately. And I was like, wait, okay, is this anime going there? But no, it didn't do anything too lewd with that. But basically they end up going on like a sort of like adventure, like getting lost. And then they bump into the student like class rep later and follow her into this board game store. And inside there is this like club and they call it the Saikoro Club. And they basically just sit down and end up playing like a real life board game called Marrakesh, which like the show takes the time to explain. And like them playing the game kind of ends up being a metaphor for how Mickey, like the shy girl, needs to be like more confident in her moves and more outgoing. And so you can tell like the show's gonna like sort of like teach people life lessons through playing board games with each other, which is kind of a nice premise, but I just
think
wasn't.
it would be better if you replace the cast with the cast for Asobi Asase.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like the cast themselves haven't really hooked me very much. It's kind of just focused on the board games themselves a bit, and I'm not too interested in the people that are playing the board games. Like I see them playing Marrakesh, and I'm like, oh, I should just go play Marrakesh with someone. Like I don't know, like which maybe is the point, but yeah.
Well, but still, like I don't know. You should be at least a little interested in the characters of any show.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And so, like, also I was laughing. So in episode 2, they play a card game called like Cockroach Poker, which is basically like there's like different like it's basically like one of those games where you're trying to like lie to people, like or not lie to them, but like get them to guess wrong about like what's on a card that you give them.
Oh, a perfect for Asobi Asase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like I was laughing because they're in the middle of showing the game and they're playing, right? But then they want to like show some passage of time. So instead of showing the game, they just show these like boring shots of like the school campus and like people running outside, and it goes on for like a while, and I'm just like, they're not showing this game because it's boring to watch people play this game. And then I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, it's kind of boring to watch this anime too. I'm going to stop. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really love this one.
It's not like the cream of the crop.
Nah, yeah, unfortunate. Because I like board games, but I don't necessarily like watching other people play them unless they're really entertaining. So, yeah.
Speaking of other boring shows.
High School Prodigies. They have it easy.
This is not that bad.
Even
like,
in
I think
World.
Leo has this weirdly aggressive stance on this anime, and I'm like, why? It's not the worst this season in any way.
Okay, right off the bat, they show these kids off as just like the Prodigy doesn't even do it justice of how fucking amazingly smart these kids are. Like my suspension of disbelief just got fucking shattered and thrown in the fucking road and ran over by a couple semis because I was just like, I don't even think Super Genius even works. They're just they're high schoolers. So okay, and then they die in a plane crash.
This wouldn't be the first show that's done that, though.
Wait,
we just talked.
Yeah, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mains, and then they all die in a plane crash, and not one of them was able to save them. Give me a fucking break! You know what you just made me believe about these kids, and they couldn't save themselves from a fucking plane crash. Fuck this show! God damn it!
I don't know. None of them are a plane.
They're smarter than any fucking adult that's ever existed.
None of them are a plane, like the pilot of a plane.
No, one of them was in fucking space at the beginning. I'm pretty sure she could pilot a fucking plane or know how to get them out of the situation.
It happened anyway.
Oh my god. Oh man, Leo's killing me.
It's like this show's the dumbest shit
I'm
ever.
just saying, they're still teenagers. Maybe they just were confused and they didn't expect it. And
No,
You know?
one of them's like a financial genius. The other one's, like I said, was in space. Another one can do
what's
magic
he
better
gonna do with all
than
his money?
anybody.
What's he gonna do with all his
Yeah,
money
but
while
what
the
about
plane goes
Space
down?
Girl, who is the greatest inventor of all time? They say. I mean,
What's she gonna invent on the plane to save them, Leo?
I don't
What's
know,
she gonna
MacGyver
invent?
the fucking shit. This is like, you've given me like unattainable things from these characters. She better be able to MacGyver them if they all fell off the plane and all they had was a fucking
what's she
backpack.
gonna do? Like invent something out of thin air while they fall from the sky? Like, I don't know what you expect.
I want her to fashion a fucking parachute out of the fucking seat cloth, and then they all survive that way. That's what I want her to fucking do. And then just to put the cherry on the top of everything, as soon as they revive, they have to have a mouth feeding. I was like, I'm done with this show.
This is the only part
Done with
where
this show.
this is the only part that I was irritated about. So the scene where suddenly the nurse is like, "Well, I'm like fucking
The big
hungry
titty
for
blonde
sex."
elf nurse. Let's not
Yeah.
leave that shit out.
So I look away for 5 seconds. I look back at the screen. Suddenly, it's a porno. I was like, I wasn't aware that this had turned into a porno. That was weird. I don't understand what happened there. It's entertaining. I like it so far. Like it's weird and random.
No.
It's
Okay,
entertaining
and then-
to hear you guys talk about it. Let me tell you.
And then Tsukasa, who is what was his thing? He's like fucking the Prime Minister of Japan or something like that. So this dude's super smart.
Prime Minister of Japan.
He is. He is like literally Prime Minister. I
No,
think.
I think he was like an ambassador or something.
I don't
He's not
know.
Prime Minister of Japan.
That's fucking high up there too. Anyways, he comes to. I feel like anybody's basic instinct is to. You're like, all right, where am I? What's going on? He does none of this. Like, there's like very obvious shit. Like, where's the electricity? Why are the walls stone? Why is there no medical equipment? But we're all here from the plane crash. And also, why do you have elf ears? Are you cosplaying? What the fuck's going on here? Also, the bowl and spoon are wooden. What the? I mean, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I thought this guy was supposed to be like an unrivaled genius of all time. And this is 8 minutes into the show, and I'm just like, fuck
you're
this.
convincing me more and more that we need to cover this show.
Oh, and what finally makes him question things is when the other big titted girl walks in, and he's like, "Why do you have a tail?" I was like, "The tail did it." That's what. Oh, and just to jump far ahead into the second. No, this is still the same episode. I thought it was so dumb I couldn't watch the second episode. The first display of their geniuses is seasoning a potato.
Hey, that's
Okay.
that's a good thing to do.
Food is no joke. If you want to get people on your side and they need these villagers on their side, you feed them.
Yeah, but
we learned this from fucking. Guess what we learned this from?
Where?
Dr. Stone.
This is one of the most basic of basic fucking things. And I was just
But
like,
they don't know what it is. They don't know what mayonnaise is. To them, it's like,
they've
holy
invented
shit.
houses. They fucking know how to season goddamn food by this point.
I don't think that they do know about it because obviously,
Well,
it was
obviously they
amazing for them.
don't. But it's so this show is so unbelievable. It hurts to watch. I cannot.
I love it, and I want to make you watch it so that we can fight about it every single
Oh
fucking
I
my
did
week.
God.
not mean to convince us to be your lock.
Yeah.
All I'll say about it is literally just that it's from Studio Project Number 9, who I hate, and it's from this director Shinsuke Yanagi, who has made Angels 3-piece, and the Ryo's work is never done. Two of my most hated shows ever.
Oh, so that's who decided on the weird porn scene.
Oh
Probably.
yeah, I hate this. I hate this director. Or at least I hate what they work on.
I will say, at one point, the inventor girl, she's like, "I made a mini nuclear reactor. It's over there." Like it's nothing. And I was just thinking to myself, You did not fucking make a mini nuclear reactor.
If you can make a mini nuclear reactor at that day and age, you can save a fucking plunging plane.
Like, that's BS. Like, you did not do that. I don't know about that.
All right. Well, let's move on to maybe the only show that's dumber than that show this season, which is Azur Lane, which is airing on Funimation. It's based on the wildly popular mobile game and from studio Bibury Animation, who I think are just making this basically. And the director Motoki Tanaka worked on like The Fruit of Grisaia and Rewrite, another one of the worst shows ever made.
I skipped over this show so fucking hard.
So, okay,
No.
Back in the day, I enjoyed the anime adaptation of Kantai Collection, which was the first of like those big, what if cute girls were actually battleships though shows. And like, instead of like looking like battleships, they just had like cute little turrets that were on their shoulders or on their wrist. And like when they wanted to launch like fighters, they would fire like a bow and arrow. And that show was kind of fun. Like it was kind of ridiculous and fun. This show is really just lolicon pandering trash. Like it is so blatant about it too. And like, I understand like, there are like 400 lolly characters in this mobile game. You don't have to put all of them in the anime, though. Like it seems like they tried to fit every single one they could into the first episode.
Is this like Sword Boys, where there's like a billion characters
Yes.
and there's no way you know
Yeah,
all
this
of
is
them?
a pure fan service show.
Yeah, this is for people
Yeah.
who like the game Azur Lane and want to see like their favorite
What'd you call
characters. Azur Lane, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's no E on there. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fucking. Oh my god, it's just a shit show, and it's so dumb. Like, okay, so it's actually funny because the game is like partially, I guess, funded by China. Not like the government of China, but like it has like Chinese interests, like Chinese companies behind the game, and so it's one of those rare anime where the Japanese Navy is like the evil people.
Ooh.
And so it's like the Americans, quote unquote, fighting against like the Japanese and like the Iron Cross, who are clearly like the German, like Nazis. And so I don't know.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, you get some like dumb fights with like these dumb girls fighting like against each other, and it's I don't know. It's mindless, stupid fan service show. I don't know. There's nothing to it. I can't recommend it to anyone except
I mean, as
Azur
much
Lane
as
fans.
I hated all of the dumb shit in Sword Boys, I still watched it. So I guess if you're into that, it's for you. If not,
Yeah.
don't watch it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on though. Assassin's Pride is airing on Crunchyroll and High Dive.
Okay.
This is another light novel from EMT Squared Studio.
This.
It's bad.
Hold on. And then the director, Kazuya Aira, was an episode director. He's never actually directed anything in full, but episode director on Anime Gatari's Miru Tights from earlier this year, Yamano Susume, and Slow Start. So those are some good anime he's worked on. So go ahead, Kat. Tell me about Assassin's Pride.
This show disappointed me.
Oh, how
Oh, you
so?
expected something from it?
Well, okay, the first few like minutes of it, I was like, okay, maybe something's gonna happen here. Like, there's this backstory with all these weird glass city things.
Oh, okay. So
All right.
the first few minutes had you. That's when I started immediately shitting on it. First,
Well-
Oh, see,
the place where he is sounds a lot like Florida. So I'm like, that's the last place of survival. And then I was sitting there, I'm like, the world has been taken over by monsters and humanity has had to wall themselves off in various settlements that are only connected by trains? Wait, I've
Cabinary.
watched Cabinary of the Iron Fortress already.
well, I don't know. I thought, okay, it seems like they have a decent premise. Like, the art is okay. It could be serious. Like, they have all these serious themes. All right, I'm excited. And then it fucking just shit the bed immediately. So then there were two slightly ditzy hot girls, like,
Oh, yeah.
within the second 5 minutes of the anime. One on the train who's like, yeah, and, like, falls. And then this, like, blonde bitch. So I'm like, all right, is this a harem? And they're all, like, also very lolly-ish, and so that irritates me.
Oh, there's so much lolly bait in the show. It's not even funny.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I don't... At first I was excited because he had this double mission of assassinating this blonde bitch. And I was like, all right, he's gonna kill this girl. It's gonna have to be like.
So you
like
thought he would
out.
actually kill her like that?
I was excited about it until I was like, oh, okay, no, he's just going to change his mind.
So Kat, how long do you think you can stand on a balcony and sway before you finally fall?
Oh,
Because
that pissed me off. Yeah,
that took forever for her to fucking fall.
it did. I don't know, like. I don't see a trained assassin who has all this training and is like in this covert mission and all this shit being like, I kind of like this cute girl, so I'm just going to go against everything I know in my life.
It's he has a lolly fetish, that's why.
It doesn't make any sense. This would never happen.
She's an
This would never
angel,
happen.
Kat. Her name is Melida
She's
Angel.
an idiot. She's a fucking idiot.
On Mal, this currently has a score of 6.66.
Oh, that's how you know. That's
Fucking
the
avoid
sign
this
of the
show,
devil
man.
right there. Oh
No,
my god.
and so then I was just disgusted and angry about it from then on. And
Oh, and then it also has our second mouth feeding of poison.
Oh my god, yeah. And just
Oh, no,
keep
and then it
constantly
was like,
calling her
oh.
like my lady or milady or my little
my
lady.
little lady or something. My little lady. It's not even like my lady. They had to put like a little in there. I don't know. It pisses me off. Also, the way he feeds her the poison, and then she has this scene where it's like da-na-na-na-na, and it's like I don't know. It's like a Disney scene, and I'm just like, what is this? Bullshit. I was angry.
Also, his name is literally Kufa Vampire. And of course, he turns out to be like a vampire eventually, I think. But yeah,
I don't know.
The thing about the show that also frustrated me, Kat, is that I actually thought like the presentation of it was really nice. Like I thought it looked really good,
Yeah.
sounded
They could have
nice.
done something with this.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing too. The way they were presenting it in the first few minutes, I was like, all right, this could be something. They've got some stuff behind this. Mm-hmm. And then they had to ruin it. I don't know. I was angry.
Oh man,
Bcom,
what?
did you take out Psychopaths 3?
It's on the second half of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Thursdays though.
Yeah, but it originally aired on the next Thursday. That's why I put it later.
Oh, you have a second Thursday?
I put all these shows in order of like literally which date they aired, like the day of the month they aired first.
Oh.
So Psychopaths didn't air its first episode until later in the season.
Okay.
That's
Damn,
all.
I rushed to fucking watch that goddamn 45-minute episode.
Well, I haven't watched it yet, so that's why it's in the second half.
Okay.
So, but the next show I did watch, Outburst Dreamer
Now-
Boys.
Now Bcom reveals the real reason.
Okay, I watched the first 5 or 10-ish minutes of
fucking
this
with
show.
Okay, yeah.
And
This show's
turned it off.
not for you, Leo.
and said I need to watch something else worth my time.
Yeah, this it's based on a novel apparently, and it's from Studio Dean. And the director Kazuya Ichikawa worked on like Clean Freak, Iruma-kun. So yeah, this is basically one of those reverse harem type setups where like the female transfer student her name is Mizuki, and she. Like, I assumed a lot about her at first because she's wearing one of those, like, chunibyo, like, eye patches over her face. And she's, like, kind of transferred, so she wants to make friends, but she's, like, awkward about it. She doesn't want to, like, tell people that she wants to be friends. But this nice girl in her class comes up to her, and she's like, well, our school has this thing called the Hero Club. So if you go over to them, they might help you out with whatever your problem is.
And it's probably those stupid boys you saw from the beginning.
Exactly. So she heads over there, and it's like, yeah, the ringleader is this kid named Yamato, who calls himself Red because he's super into live action like tokusatsu shows. And so he kind of calls everybody in this club by like a color as if they were like a Power Ranger or a Kamen Rider or something. And so
But he calls the other girl Pink like right away.
well, yeah, he wants her to be the Pink Ranger, obviously, because he sees her like little chunibyo eye patch and immediately assumes that she's a nerd like them, but actually she just had an eye infection, and she's like a totally normal girl. Yeah, the other guys, there's like Yellow, who is like Tomoki. He's this pretty blonde dude, but he's like more obsessed with gacha games and specifically like dating the girl in his gacha game than anything in real life. And then there's Black, whose name is Toga, who kind of like, you first see him, he's got his like hands together like Gendu Ikari from like Evangelion, and he's just one of those like nut job chunibyos who thinks he's like a dark flame master, and like you literally find out that he's written like manga about himself being like just like a dark hero. And the last one is Purple, and his name is Ray. He actually has pink hair even though he's called Purple. And he's just like kind of pretty like irritable and like standoffish, but he also wears this weird cat hoodie that literally has like a cat tail coming out of the bottom of it. So he's interesting. But yeah, it just like the first couple episodes kind of play out with like somebody was like weirdly targeting the new girl Mizuki, like cuz like she kept getting like things like tossed at her and nobody saw from who. Like she almost got like a soccer ball kicked at her head, and then like this like weird rubber bird was thrown at her, and like all the guys kind of like save her, and she also just finds out more about how goofy they are, and it just ends up being that like this guy who was really attracted to the nice girl in their class was jealous that like this nice girl like made like friends with Mizuki on the first day, because Nanako's the name of this girl, like she was supposed to like tell him whether she wanted to go out with him, but she just said like, oh, I need to like take some time, and instead of rejecting him, and so he got really upset that like she was getting so close to somebody else. And like basically the way the second episode plays out is like this guy like confronts Nanako about it, and then Black, the like Chunibyo guy, agrees to be Nanako's like fake boyfriend in order to like just put this guy off. And they kind of like go on like a triple date together just because they like meet at the mall, and they go around the mall, and like she's just like pretending he's her boyfriend, and like she's the only one who can like understand his crazy like ranting, which was kind of funny because he's just spouting off Chunibyo shit, and she can like understand what he means and nobody else can.
But like, of all of them to be her pretend boyfriend, I would not pick Black.
Yeah, I don't know. She saw something in him, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, at least take the weird, like harem game dude.
Well, like he's too obsessed with his own like 2D harem that
but like the weird dude who pretends his arm is taking over his body is better.
Yeah, no. Apparently. But it does work because like the guy is so freaked out that like the girl he liked is like in love with this like ridiculous kid that he just gives up, and he just like is overwhelmed eventually. And that's basically the show. Like the show is just going to be like them like helping various people out like with their quirky ways. And I don't know if it's actually going to be like a harem type thing. Like they're all kind of pretty boys, but it's not like she's falling in love with them, the main girl necessarily. So I don't know. It might just be kind of like a comedy show, basically. It's hard to tell from like the first 2 episodes.
I would say it has a cute kind of humor that's a little unique, and it's kind of funny. But it's the character's a little too weird. I don't know. Yeah,
they're a little wacky, which I mean keeps things interesting at least. But yeah, I don't know where it's going with all that. So shenanigans. The next show, which I actually didn't even watch, Welcome to the Demon School. Did any of us watch this?
I watched it.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, you tell us about it, Leo.
Well, first of all, it's from a manga. It's from Bandai Namco, and the director is Makoto Morikawa, who has directed, like, Milky Homes and, like, Pre-Para and stuff. And this is going to get 23 episodes, so it seems like a big kid's show or something, essentially.
It is 100% a shonen. It's a little bit on the kidsy side. Mm-hmm. So basically the main character, Ruma, his parents abuse him, and he can never say no to anybody asking him for help.
Oh, wow.
They sell him to a demon. The demon turns out basically be the king of hell, and he wants Iruma to take his place, but he sends him to a demon high school to learn the ways and everything like that. But he's the only human there, and he wears like a special like perfume so that they can't smell him out. And like by just like pure fucking dumb luck, he somehow makes like the the incoming like class representative, his underling.
Huh.
And then in the second episode, because he's human and everybody's summoning their familiars, but everybody else is demons. But because he's human, he summons a demon as his familiar, and he summons like the teacher of the class. So he's like one of the most powerful familiars. It looks good. It is kind of fun, but
Yeah.
It is kiddie. It's just kind of kiddish.
Yeah, it's not really aimed at us. I
It has a very Halloween type of like scheme to it, and I do like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought like the characters looked kind of cool.
It makes me think of the animated Beetlejuice cartoon. If anybody ever seen that, it makes me think of that a little bit. So like, I think that kind of like weighed on me a little bit. I was like, this is entertaining, but if I don't have extra time, I don't think I'll ever end up picking it up.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of like Gegege no Kitaro, that show that came out like a while ago now, but it's been going. It got like 80 episodes at this point or something. Just
and I'd like to point out the voice actress of Amelia did Kokoro from from Darling in the Franxx.
Oh, nice. Glad to see she's still getting work.
Because I'm going to keep bringing her up every single time.
Oh my god.
Kat's not even going to talk to me. Oh, she's also the voice actor for Deanna from Double Decker, who I love. Deanna.
Oh, your
she's
favorite.
I'm just avoiding this. I'm like, no.
Oh man. All right, moving on. Val X Love, which is airing on High Dive. This is from a manga. The studio is Hoods Entertainment, and the director Takashi Naoya did Token Ranbu Hanamara, that's Sword Boys, and 3D Kanojo Real Girl, which is awful.
Ooh.
So this is a doofy ecchi show. There's nothing really to see here. It's the basic premise is there's just this fucking awkward guy who people think he's like a demon or something because he's got like shark teeth and he's like really dour and he's kind of antisocial, but it turns out he's just like kind of a normal guy. But there are all these fucking girls just living with him, it turns out they are Valkyries, but basically they're just there for fan service. But the reason is like they're Valkyries who are fighting against demons, right? There's actual like monsters and demons in this world. But Leo, here's the key part. In order for them to power up, they need to like get undressed and get like into sexy times with the MC.
That sounds like a normal everyday thing.
Yeah, like, and there's like some like fucking thing. There's like some disembodied voice that is like, breast massage occurred, like, level up. It's just like, Valkyrie activate. Just the stupidest shit. So it's like, it's just like a dumb ecchi show. Like, so if you're looking for some boobs and some dumb plot, like this might be up your alley. But beyond that, it's like, there's nothing to it. So enjoy. The only place you can find this shit is anime, so, you know, it's good stuff. All right.
Yes.
One last show to cover today is a big one. Fate Grand Order, Absolute Demonic Front, Babylonia.
Do any of us even know anything about?
I do, because I play the mobile game. But yeah, this is airing on Funimation. And it's based on a ridiculously popular mobile game in the Fate universe. The studio is Cloverworks, and director Toshifumi Akai, who directed like that Shelter music video by Porter Robinson, and also was like the chief animation director on Sora no Woto, Sound of the Sky, which is a pretty good show. But yeah, this is our first like big directing job, which is kind of surprising for like a big thing like this. But yeah, this is the story that I skipped over while playing the smartphone game. Because, okay, let me be honest with people. Fate Grand Order does not have a very good story. I would say, like, you know, Fate Stay Night has a pretty good story. Like, Fate Zero has a great story. Even the new Heaven's Feel movies have pretty good stories. But, like, the freaking mobile game story is, like, real not so good. But it's just a good way to fit like characters in that people enjoy. And so like the main characters in this Babylonia arc that people like are the people who are like around Babylonia, like Mesopotamia. So like Gilgamesh, who is like a fan favorite character from like Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night, he's back, and he's like in his like natural habitat, king. But like the other favorites, of course, are Ishtar, who is a goddess. But who is Ishtar exactly? She looks kind of like another Fate character named Rin Tosaka. And it's basically like, they made this game, and they're like, well, we can't put Rin in the game. But what if we just put Rin in the game and just called her something else?
Oh, God.
And so that's what she is, basically. So she's a goddess who looks exactly like Rin Tosaka and wears very skimpy clothing. But basically, yeah, the idea about Fate Grand Order is that there are, throughout time, various like holy grails like that need to be like, there's like things that are like upset in the timeline, and they need to go back and they need to fix whatever's wrong so that the future can exist, basically, because they're like existing in modern time at like the end of the world, basically. And they have to go back and fix all this stuff. And so like this is the Babylonia chapter where they go back to Babylonia. And so the main character is like a guy. I'm kind of upset that they chose the guy main character, because you can choose a girl in the game. And like she, like in all of the fan art, the girl is always like the best. There's like a huge Fate Grand Order fan art community, and like people who draw like comics of like the main characters and everything. And so like I always wanted like the anime to be like the girl side main characters. That would be really fun. But they chose the guy, which is kind of more boring. But and his partner, sidekick, whatever, is Mash, who is a girl who is a Fate class called Shielder, which is like a unique class, a defensive class that protects. So yeah, they're like basically they going around Babylonia, and they meet Gilgamesh and they meet Ishtar. And it's just fun. There's like a lot of like fights, and there's some really bad CGI. But it's just, you know, it's just like fun, like Fate adventure type shenanigans. It's not going to be like a super serious story like Fate Zero or anything like that. It's just like, there's a lot of comedy there. There's a lot of fan service. Like, just Mash's butt gets more screen time than like the main character's face probably does.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, like, it's that. But it's good for Fate fans. Like, if you're a fan of Fate, like, I think you'll like this show. You'll get a kick out of it. And there's, like, some things that come into play in this Babylonia arc that are really just interesting and fun ideas. So it'll be like a fun action show, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, there's not much else to it besides that, though.
I just don't get the whole Fate series. It seems like it's interesting, but there's just so much to it I can't follow.
I'm afraid to try to get into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's daunting, but like you can basically, I don't know, there's a lot of schools of thought on where you start, but like you can basically just watch like Unlimited Blade Works and then Fate Zero if you want, or you could watch the Heaven's Feel movies since they're almost all out now. And then go back to Fate Zero after those, if you don't want to spoil yourself on like one small aspect that people overblow like crazy. So yeah, the Fate's fun, but it's also really stupid. And I think this show kind of embraces some of the stupid stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
So that's nice. But yeah, that is the first half of anime for fall 2019. We still have a bunch of big shows to go. And the next episode.
Yeah,
yep.
Like some of even the continuing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try. I am petitioning for us to cover My Hero Academia this season.
Oh, God.
Because Bcom has this huge thing against it. But, like, you have to admit this is a shit season, and it's dumb not to cover it.
I'll think
It's
about
dumb. It's stupid, Bcom. It's dumb.
I'll think about it. In my brain. Because, yeah, there are not a lot of great shows this season. So, yeah.
Like, pressure him, guys, because it's dumb. And you guys all know it, too.
If you want to hear me rant about My Hero Academia week to week,
Hey, it
hit
can
me
be
up.
entertaining.
I'm not feeling too bad about maybe forcing Kat to log High School Prodigies now.
I mean...
Oh, no.
I'm not going to feel bad about having to cover High School Prodigies if we end up covering it. It'll be entertaining, too.
That's true.
The thing is, I read the manga for My Hero Academia, so I'm so far ahead that like everything we'll go over is so fucking uninteresting to me at this point.
Yeah.
No, Leo, it's not all about you
So-
sometimes. Sometimes
I'm
it's
just
about-
saying I probably won't have much to contribute for two reasons. I'm uninterested in number one, I don't actually want to reveal a spoiler and then just be like, oh fuck, that's fucking 10 chapters from now. My bad. Or like hear you guys react to something and just sit here going like, that's absolutely no big deal, guys. Fuck.
So it'll be like when I knew all the Attack on Titan spoilers and I kept accidentally like saying them and then not realizing that you didn't know them and then we'd have to delete them out. It'll be like that for
that
you.
has happened. The listeners don't know that, but that has happened. Where
'cause I
Bcom and I
didn't know.
sat here going, what?
I didn't know knowing that hadn't been. Yeah, I have some unconsiderate friends.
Oh, that was
who
Attack on Titan.
spoiled
That's
me
what
on
you're talking
everything.
about.
That was fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
was
have
fun.
some very inconsiderate friends who spoiled me on everything, and so I knew all the spoilers. And we'd be covering something, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, they've covered this. Everyone knows this piece of information," and so I'd say it, and then they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, next episode we'll go over the rest of those shows, and then we will vote on the top ones that we're going to follow this season. And then we'll try to catch up to that because we're a little behind. We're starting a little late here, but we'll catch up.
Yeah.
A slight spoiler: we're having a little bit of a different format change.
Potentially, we're still
shorten it up a
potentially.
little.
we're arguing
Try
about
to shorten
that.
it up just
yeah.
a tad.
It will also allow us to catch up very quickly if we need to.
That's
So-
not why we're doing it.
No, that's not why.
No, yeah,
that's
there's a
not
lot
why.
of reasons. We're thinking about changing up the format of our reviews a bit, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we
next-
might experiment a little bit, is what we're saying, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll have to wait and find out about that. So thank you all for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on the new podcast and videos that come out. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and all your typical podcast catchers. Follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates. And come hang out with us on our Discord. There's a link in the description. You can hang out and look at videos of Leo's cats and other cats, like the hero Quilty, who saved other cats from detention in Houston.
I just posted that as soon as we were recording.
Quilty did nothing wrong. Quilty is not guilty. So that's all you need
Could you
to know.
imagine working in a like humane society and you walk in and all 15 cats are just roaming everywhere and you're like, what the fuck?
They've taken over. I would start thinking it's like Planet of the Apes or something. Like maybe they've
It
they're
happened
going to
3
take
times
over
before
everything.
they finally figured out what happened.
All right. So with all that, we will see you next time.
Yep, later.
Yeah. Later.
Bye.
Bye.